There's an inherent beauty in utilizing the resources available and repurposing that allows for authenticity while simultaneously being able to create something new and different and inspire change. I grew up in a low-income neighborhood, and we had to be pretty resourceful. My sisters and I shared a room, and to give us each our own sense of space, my mother made us little houses out of refrigerator boxes. She stitched them together with colorful yarn and made doors and windows, and that completely transformed the room for us. Her creativity and resourcefulness and that power of transformation has always stuck with me. And I've always been inspired by what can be done with very little. Ingenuity born out of necessity. In my practice as an architect, I've also come to realize the power of creativity and resourcefulness and economic constraints. In our studio, we like to take on little projects that challenge us to bend and shape everyday objects that might otherwise be discarded into something new with new purpose, like turning an old door into a beautiful chair, or reusing milk crates as an inexpensive way to create unique shelving and lighting for a pop-up shop on South Main. In 2012, we started working with a local nonprofit, Community Lift, on a renovation project in Soulsville USA in South Memphis. The project was to turn the historic home of the legendary blues musician Memphis Slim into a community recording studio. The idea was to use art and music to create a community space that would spur economic and cultural revitalization in Soulsville. A little background about Soulsville. In its day, Soulsville was a happening place. It was a place where diverse musicians with diverse sounds converged to create something new in American soul music. Unfortunately, after World War II, streetcar lines that had really contributed to early growth and connected the neighborhood to the greater Memphis area were removed. And the events surrounding the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and school desegregation all led to the departure of a lot of middle-class residents, and the neighborhood fell into major economic decline. Memphis Slim grew up right in the center of Soulsville, across the street from Stack's recording studio. And growing up, he had kind of a hard life, and yet his music was surprisingly upbeat. His life embodied the paradox of his music, and as we began to immerse ourselves in the neighborhood and started collaborating with the community on this project, I realized that the residents had this same mentality, that even though their neighborhood faced many challenges, they were very proud of their history and extremely optimistic about the future. So, given some of my experiences growing up, I immediately felt a strong connection to the community. And together we asked ourselves, can we take this old, dilapidated house with such important history and transform it into something new for the community? Can we make it a resource that embraces the energy of the community while also looking to the future? First, we would have to get inside the house. And the house had seen better days. We began to remove layers of the house to assess the structure, and we found that the foundations were too rotted and that the structure was too far gone. And we quickly realized that our renovation project would become a rebuilding project. And this would make funds even tighter and meant we would have to be even more resourceful. So we salvaged everything we could. We saved all of the wood framing from the house, we saved all the bricks from the fireplace, and we rebuilt the house. We built it back to its original form using local, economical, and reclaimed materials. We clad the house with cedar fencing and corrugated metal. We wanted to poetically reflect the original character of the house while also celebrating this new community-oriented purpose. So we carved out big openings in the front to really welcome the community in. And we transformed the front porch where Memphis Slim and Isaac Hayes and Rufus Thomas could often be heard playing into a stage for the neighborhood. And it really became an active place in the community again. They started using it for everything from an art gallery to community meetings, and folks from all over Memphis could come and share their stories. So we wanted to leverage this new energy around the house, and we started thinking about the spaces outside the house. and how we can engage the neighborhood further. And in a couple of weekends, the community came together and they transformed the vacant lot next door into an outdoor music venue, using reclaimed church pews and some of the construction materials left over from the Slim house. And now folks from all over the neighborhood can come and enjoy a monthly music series. But more importantly than that is that they have a space where they can talk about their ideas and connect and share with others. So we began having conversations about how we could tackle some of the bigger challenges facing the neighborhood: economic inequality, safety, mentoring youth, and fostering community. We were seeing it happen on a small scale, but could we come up with a plan to address the neighborhood as a whole? In having these conversations, we realized that the greatest asset that the neighborhood has are the people themselves. And could we harness the power of the residents to now create a network of spaces for collective problem solving and building on the social relationships of the different sectors of the community? As you go through Soulsville, one thing you'll notice, like many places like Soulsville, is there's a lot of people that walk, a lot of people ride their bikes, and not for recreation, but for transportation. A lot of friends and families hang out on the front porch and out in the neighborhood, and we thought, can we use these spaces, the spaces in between the buildings, to create a platform for the residents to interact with one another? Could we use the sidewalks, the streets, the vacant lots and blighted properties to tackle some of these issues that face the neighborhood? So we came up with a plan for McLemore Avenue, the central strip of Soulsville, to build on the existing cultural assets and transform the strip into a cultural corridor. The plan would enhance the entrances to the neighborhood, provide much-needed amenities, and connect people to local businesses using low-cost, high-impact solutions that the folks in the community could design and implement themselves. As you come to the neighborhood down McLemore Avenue, the entrance is marked with the I Heart Soulsville mural. And with simple, creative solutions like street paint to slow down traffic, and rock gardens to activate the empty lots as public plazas, and artistic crosswalks to increase pedestrian safety, we can transform this entrance into a gateway that lets people know they're entering someplace special. As you continue down the corridor, there's a lot of opportunity in the vacant lots and blighted properties to repurpose them with pop-up amenities like community gardens and pocket parks, programs that can be implemented quickly to have an immediate impact. These spaces are then connected through a shared street strategy where pedestrians, bicyclists, automobiles, and mass transit are all treated equally. And something important to note here is that that's the existing 57-foot right-of-way. It's just been redefined. As you get to the core of the neighborhood, many cultural assets converge, including Stax Museum, Lemoyne College, and the Memphis Slim House. Hundreds of students and visitors and tourists come to this area daily, but they're not currently engaging the rest of the neighborhood. Visitors to Stax are dropped off right at the front door, they stay for a couple of hours, and they get right back on the bus and leave. There's a huge opportunity to engage these visitors with the rest of the neighborhood. Looking at a plan of that same area with creative paint installations that claim the sidewalks and the streets, we can increase the safety and walkability among these cultural assets and encourage new local businesses to thrive, transforming the core of the neighborhood into one large outdoor room, creating a space for the community to come together. Vacant lots are then activated with bike share plazas and food truck lots, infilling the core with new local services. The community has already begun implementing many of these initiatives themselves, just last week adding artistic benches to the I Heart Soulsville Plaza. Others may see Soulsville as a blighted neighborhood with many obstacles before them. But for the community and myself, we see a place with rich history and endless opportunities, that with creativity, resourcefulness, and optimism, anything is possible. Thank you. Thank you.